following pre-recorded program is a part of the video conferencing series produced by the Instructional Technology Support Center at Middle Tennessee State University. The program series provides quality educational programming for K-12 teachers and students in the region. For more information about our programming, please visit our website or contact us via email or telephone.
Welcome to the Satellite and Webcasting Center at Middle Tennessee State University. I'm Connie Schmidt, your program producer. Pat Jackson is our director. I'd like to welcome our satellite viewers, our cable television viewers, and our webcasting viewers. We invite all our participants to call in with questions today on our toll-free telephone line at 1-866-904-8352. We're delighted to have back with us today Dr. Zaf Khan from the Department of Elementary and Special Education here at MTSU. He's joined in the studio by some of our MTSU education students. Today's topic is Inclusion Implies Exclusion, the art and science of creating tiered activities for all students. I'm going to turn it over now to Dr. Zaf Khan.
Hello and welcome. East, West, and Middle Tennessee. It's great to be here. Thank you, Connie, and thank you, students, for being here. Let me start out at the outset, David, talking to all of you about this word inclusion. Inclusion has been a word that's been around for a long time. Every educator talks about it. Every special educator wants to learn more about it. And everyone has some type of concept or conception of this wonderful word, inclusion. Wonderful? Huh. Well, let me tell you what Dr. Khan thinks about this word inclusion. I believe this word inclusion should not have any place in our society. I believe this word should not be uttered anymore. I believe this word should no longer be in our vocabulary. I believe this word has caused more division than anything else for our serving our children with disabilities. Hence, my topic is, Terrell, inclusion implies exclusion. Think about that philosophically. My question to you out there today is, who excluded these students? By what criteria and why? Whose convenience was this for? I believe, and this is my philosophical argument, that we as a society have become very, very much attuned to the fact that we have created our own habit, and I call it the habit of exclusion. Does that make sense, Molly? Does that make sense, Jessica, Bonnie? That it's very interesting that we do have a seminar called Inclusion. First of all, I want you to understand my philosophy of where I'm coming from. No child should be excluded. So what I hope to do today is to bring the message back to the classroom. So the question is, how do we get back kids, good boys and girls, who have disabilities back into regular ed classrooms? I do understand from a regular education teaching perspective, Dr. Khan, this makes me anxious, what you're saying. This makes me even fearful. What do I do next? How do I plan to take that first bold step? And the way that you need to do this is through a process that has been developed, has been around for the last 15, 20 years, that I'm going to bring and highlight to you and bring it to the forefront. It's called tiered instruction. It is the only mechanism, it is the only way successfully that I have found through my personal experience, which I will talk about in a few moments, that we were able to include Lucas into general education curriculum. You're probably asking the question, so who is Lucas, Dr. Khan? Well, I'll tell you who Lucas is. Lucas was a 5th grade student at Tirshbazina Tribal School when I was special education teacher. The problem was, Lucas had this phenomenal personality. He had this great communication style that he developed on his own, but he was mentally challenged. He also had an abnormal gait, which means he would walk in a very soft way, in the way Lucas could walk. So he was also physically challenged. But every morning, when Lucas walked into the school, the whole school began to shine. Lucas had this effect. I call it the Lucas effect. Yes, he would light up a room in a breeze just by looking at his smile. But the problem was at the school that I was serving. The problem was Lucas was not being included. He was being served in a program, pull out. And in Tennessee, we probably equate that to a CDC-3 program, fully self-contained. And that's where Lucas was. He got his physical therapy there. He got his speech and language communication goals met there. But all he knew was this little world that we created for him. So after some thinking outside the box, the question then arose, how do we get this beautiful personality back into the classroom? How can we get the Lucas effect and get Lucas to feel better? Because we do know from research that it is very important for children to interact with each other in a real setting. And the real setting is the regular ed classroom, not the CDC-3 classroom. Raise your hands if you agree with me. Thank you. Thank you. So I took on the bold effort initiative and I said, let me step outside my box, let me step outside my zone, and let me reframe exactly what I'm going to think and how we're going to plan for this initiative. But I had to do some reading. I had to go back to the literature. I had to go look at Tomlinson's work. I had to look at Weiner's work. I had to look at lots of different works to find out exactly how do we do this? How do we do this so that everybody is happy? Lucas is happy, his regular ed teacher is happy, we are happy, and ultimately Lucas finds benefit and value in his education. Folks, I just want to say one thing, and that is the regular ed classroom is a microcosm of the real world. What does that mean, David?
It's a smaller version of what's out there.
Thank you. Everybody heard what David said. David just said it is a smaller version of what's already out there. When you go to the mall, when you go to Walmart, when you go to these shopping centers, you don't see a CDC-3 area, you don't see a resource area. We see a microcosm of all worlds coming together. Diversity, again, is our strength. So I'm really, really passionate about this sphere, this word inclusion, as you can tell from my voice. And more so I was passionate of getting Lucas back into the regular classroom. So I found one strategy out there, and that's called tiered instruction.